and being able to ensure that Sensei is going to have the op to battle Sun Pius, because that's what I think is going to be incredibly important. Maybe less so here on Inferno, but going forward on towards Overpass for sure. Not Overpass,
Vertigo. There we go. Neither map really an AWP's paradise, but certainly one where you'd expect, starting on this CT side, the likes of Sun Pius to have a little bit of a field day. Movi, of course, on the pick of Sangal, immediately dropping over towards that CT side, and a very default setup to start this pistol. Two players just bunkering in towards that B site, playing the crossfire between New and Dark, not giving anything at all up towards Top Banana. A pit grave set up over on the A site, and then Sun Pius trusted after that initial peek into second mid. Doesn't see too much of anything, just to settle back into the speedway rotate, allow him to hit either site at any time. And well, for now, it's working great. There's 1 minute and 10 left on the clock. Sangal really haven't seen anything to give them any kind of a read on which way to take this, but they're finally starting to group up over towards the A site.
This is a super interesting hold from Movi. I mean, it gives nothing to Sangal, but it gives them nothing either, as they're just sitting back waiting for the play to happen and then obviously trying to react to it. A little bit of a fake maybe could throw them awry, but it doesn't seem like that's the plan. It's straightforward enough. It straight up dinks as well around the edge of the smoke. Sun Pius does actually spot the approach to Arch, but he can't do anything about it. Instead, the only kill so far is from Deaths, and that was on the sole player, the straggler that was coming up on short. So now it's the B push that needs to be held down from both angles, and that is a great shot from Mopo as it pulls them both through CT and gives Alex maybe a chance to do something from behind.
He hung him out to dry, so he's got to get something done, and it does bait them in. 20 seconds left, bomb on the floor as Alex deals with Corey, and now this starts to get really rough. Davier on low HPs on the flank. He'll deal with the head of Soulfly, and Kyubi is left a 1v3 to contend with. No safe plant spot either. He's just going to try and take some fights here. Time is up. His head is ripped clean off. And well, Alex makes up for it. He hung Mopos out to dry a little bit there, but he gets himself the double kill in response, grabs that bomb before it can go down, and that's a really nice start for the Movistar Riders.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a risky hold, honestly. I feel like if the full approach was up through short, they probably could have made that work, as the A-bomb site only had the 2 players initially to defend. The third was back in Arch, so the setup really just happened to be perfect for Movistar. And you've got to instantly question, is that a read that they had on Sangal? Is that a pistol that they've pulled out in the past and that has been noted by Movistar and quickly dealt with? The force buy is in from Sangal here, so they've put everything into this round, and it's surprisingly not a buy with any rifles present. This feels like the old days. Obviously, a lot more utility behind it. And Isaac actually just decides to stick onto the Glock, which is surprising.
So
look at
that's
him.
Gotta be a glitched HUD.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Gotta be, surely. We'll get that fixed up for you guys shortly, but you're right, it's an intriguing one. They've got to have a plan for this utility. That's what you have to say, right? When you're sacrificing this kind of firepower, you've got to have an execute in your back pocket, and it looks like the play's going to be up towards B. Double flashes to get Mopos off his angle. He holds that smoke well, though, and drops it just in time, keeps them busy behind, allows for the rotation to occur. Alex will make his way around in support, but only the 1 pot flash remaining, and that's going to go with 50 seconds left on the clock. So Sangal doing a great job of bleeding the utility out of these Movistar Riders, boys, and it's going to be a question of, can they now make their utility count for something more? They've got a handful of flashes, couple of smokes to isolate the fights on this site. Kyubi even has a Molotov if he wants to throw it out towards those oranges. Try and flush Alex out of his angle, but that's not the play. 25 seconds left. They're actually doubling back over towards this A site, and that's walking right into the stack now as they're going to throw this utility on the fly. It'll start to give the game away. Davig yet to be blinded up, and look at all the nades not being used. Davig with a mowdown grabs 2, and they know the hit's coming. Corey able to grab at least a solitary frag, but that's not enough. Deaths and Pius combine. And, well, you have to say, they bought all that utility, and so much of it went down without being thrown.
Yeah, seems like a little bit of a waste, to be honest. You get up close and personal with those pistols, and sometimes it's all you can think about, just getting those shots in. It's unfortunate. As you mentioned, they've done a great job at wasting pretty much all of the nades from Movistar in those opening moments. They didn't really sustain any damage while running it down either, so it seemed like they had a pretty good opportunity. Instead, a full eco to be had, a few pistols at least in play, but Movistar, if they can avoid taking more than 1 or 2 casualties, then I think they'll be pretty happy with getting themselves this initial start of very likely 3-0. I've said it now, so see if it happens or not. Never know with a few deagles. Does seem like we'll be seeing a fairly aggressive banana style from Movistar. I've been covering some NA games as of late, so I had a couple of Infernos where Banana was barely touched by the CTs, so it's nice to see.
Nice to see teams who know how to play Inferno, right? Sangal hoping just for a pick at this point, but with the 3-man setup in towards bracket, it's going to be very difficult to get anything going. Couple of Deegs wandering their way out, but it's a mow down for some Pious. Easy pickings, you have to say. HE goes in, potentially even just to knock those Deagles away, deny any kind of opportunity. QB doing what he can, though. We'll connect onto at least the one, and just keeping a little bit of damage onto that CT side is important. Sprunk lost alive. It's a dink and desperately low for some Bias on 2 HP, but he stays alive, keeps his M4 available, and buys a really tidy bonus round for the Movistar Riders now as well. 2 MP9s and a FAMAS maintained alongside that one M4A1S. Barely going to be any reinvestment at all from the CT side, as we see Sangal for the first time pulling out the full complement of rifles. And it is worth noting that Isaac is actually Sensei. The HUD's a little bit busted, but it's showing the guns correctly now, which is good.
I didn't actually notice I wasn't showing the guns correctly.
Just for a little bit.
But yeah, it did take me a moment to realize he was Sensei. I had to go look at the team names, and I was like, I don't know. I'm just really bad at noticing who's gone from a server when it's needed to be known. Obviously, we had been talking about Sensei. He was the first name I mentioned when the game went live. He said he's going to need to have that up in play, which he has right now. So let's see what he's able to do on the T side here of Inferno with a few SMGs as well for Movistar Riders. You could expect maybe a bit of aggression to be shown. So far, it hadn't happened, but Alex is going to go for that late banana peek. Does some good damage on the second spray, as well as, of course, taking that initial kill on towards Soulfly. They're happy with that. They can fall back. They can play things much more passively now, and actually going to put Alex up in the boost position.
I think the initial jump peak must have spotted him on the radar, because Alex knew all too well where to spam that one through. Sangal again, just looking a little one-dimensional initially. It's going to be this delayed contact in towards the B site, boosted up. Alex able to grab a second, falls back, smoke onto his position in case of a molly, but it's not coming. And they're going to boost him back up again. Sensei and Scrunk, they'll be aware of this position now, but the smoke gives him just a little bit of a one-way as well, as Sensei just tries to shoulder into the contact, desperate for some kind of support. The Molotov goes in. That'll be extinguished. Sensei still yet to take contact with 25 seconds left on the clock. He's shouldering this angle desperately slowly. The rotation's now starting to make their way across. Utility pop flash in. Sensei looking the wrong way. Yes, Scrunk trades it down, but there's still a player on this site. Some Pious deals with the flank and deals with the second as well. And it's already starting to look just a little bit ugly for Sangal. That hit didn't look like it had too much impetus whatsoever.
No, it really seemed like after the first player got dropped, well, not the first player, I suppose the second or so player got dropped by Alex over towards B, the first from the boost position, they became a little bit afraid. They knew he was up there. They had the up ready to take the peak the entire time, but they were just intimidated to actually go in for it. And obviously that gave plenty of time for Movistar to just reposition, calm themselves down, and have the 3 players ready as that push did finally come in. Oh, some players did land that, I believe. There was damage done to Corey. I believe that was the player he was up against. This is going to pull them up mid now as they want to try and maybe fight this up. Get it to fire off a shot, try and overwhelm. Unfortunately, though, there's an MP9 waiting for them over on short as well. That's going to be looking to build up money, and that nade is going to help out big time. Here we go. One for Sun Pious. Deaths is going to join in. Dishing it out, and there you go. Actually stolen by Sun Pious, who gets the majority of the kills in the end rather than the MP9. That's unfortunate, but it's always nice to get the few kills on the upper as well, and I think he got one with his pistol even. So the 300 instead of the 100 at least.
He's not going to be too fast. It's a nice little farm. They're 5-0 up, and well, at the moment, Movistar Riders 5 rounds to the good, only 5 deaths across the entire team, and that's going to start becoming a very big problem for Sangal now. They invest again fully. They get their AWP, they get their AKs, full utility available, but they need to start doing damage to this CT side because there's so much built-up economy already.
Yeah, it's in a pretty ridiculous position on the majority of players. Flash straight up mid. They're going to try something similar to the previous round. This time, though, they have the weapons to back it up. And with a great opening from Sensei, there is some hope. Unfortunately, I was going to say it seemed like some damage at least was being done. But no, the FAMAS didn't get the finish. It looked like they lined up. A little bit of a dink. It just isn't enough, unfortunately. And, well, despite Movistar having really good money, it doesn't seem like they want anything to do with this. They have an AK in play that obviously can't be repurchased. The op that, even while Sun Pious has nearly 10,000, is still going to be really expensive. So they decide, okay, cool, you can have this one round. We're going to be still sitting 5-1. We'll come back, we'll win it out in the next round, and just get back to business as usual. Or at least that's the hope.
Welcome to Inferno in the current meta, one and all. 5-0 up, economy bulging for the CT side, a 3v4 retake with tags onto 2 players, and Movi are not interested whatsoever. It's the right call. It's just unfortunate that this is where we're at now, as Sangal will get around on the board. Like you said, a little bit fortunate there. There was a timing for that FAMAS. You have to imagine maybe if it was an M4, even an AK-47, he's getting a lot more done there than he did. But Sensei starting to show up for his team. A couple of big opening picks to get them into that round, and they're going to need a lot more where that came from, because Pius is currently 10-1, so that AWP on the T side needs to start matching him.
Speaking of that FAMAS thing, I swear I heard the dink and then I looked and there was 2 players on like 50 and 40, so I wasn't sure exactly how it played out. It did confuse me a little. Either way, a little bit unfortunate. As you said, Pius is on the op now. Is he looking to take any initiative? It seems like he's happy enough to just chill out over on B. Sangal have been fairly slow with their pushing in for the map control though, so you have to expect that he's not going to be getting that fight anytime soon, especially with the nades just being tossed down. I guess the hope is with the nades being put down and with no one actively peeking Banana, that it will push Sangal into now beginning to take the control as soon as those mollies fade away. And it's not common, of course, to have a 3-man stack this late on just playing passively. So this is a position they're hoping to catch Sangal off guard with. But they say no. They decide, we don't really want Banana anymore. We're going to make our way back up mid. And this could be the perfect call if they move pretty quickly off this.
This is the problem with that passive setup, like you said, over towards the B bomb site. There's no information. Now they go pushing. Now they go seeking it out. And they confirm at the very least that Banana is free. That will allow the rotations to start to make their way up the archway. But again, completely smoked off. A big call to be made here for the Movistar Riders. Davic's tucked himself into pit. Death's playing the deep corner. They want to go through these smokes. They want to try and get a play going, but Soulfly is waiting for exactly that. Chipnade does good work onto 3, and if they knew that damage was there, they'd definitely be tempted into this retake. Late utility now coming in. 30 seconds left on the clock. Mopos full blind, does deal with the player in towards the arches, and that starts to open up this retake. Davic still alive and kicking in the mini pit, drawing them into the crossfire brilliantly. Grabs himself a second as Deaths backs him up, and that is exactly how you hold the A site on Inferno. Flawless from the Movistar Riders.
And that's despite the fact that they didn't have everyone in position. So, yeah, it's not working for Sangal right now. Even when Movistar, even when their call is pretty much a perfect counter to what Movistar have in play, they're still able to make those reactions and those calls to get themselves back into the round. And it's left now Sangal in a bit of an awkward spot. They still have money to buy, of course, so they're able to keep that going for now. But they do need to start winning out some rounds. If things keep on going as they have been, then there will be some trouble going forward on towards Vertigo, because while it's not a bad map for Sangal by any means, this is one that they are expected to be pretty strong on. Oh, this is an interesting play from Alex. He's already on low health. He doesn't get that initial kill, but he will end up taking out Soulfly and the follow-up headshot on towards Corey. That is nasty. I don't know how the hell he escapes from Banana. He was 32 health that entire time, pretty much. And now as the sole B defender, he managed to fall back. If he died right there, B could have been open for the taking.
That's so nasty. Isaac, rather so Sensei's going to try and recreate the antics, but it's a clean 1-for-1 trade. And that's all Deaths really needs to do at this point, right? He's got his trade. He keeps his team in the ascendancy. Utility to force back the fight. And now this gets really interesting, because Movi have actually bit onto this entirely. All 3 players rotating in towards that B site. They realize their mistake now, but it's allowed Kyubi to get a very aggressive angle. And I'm not sure Davic's going to be prepared for this at all. Wide swings into it, gets his head taken clean off, and now even 2-on-2. Well, we've seen Movistar Riders give up a 3v4 retake. How does a 2-on-2 sit with them? They've still got Deaths all the way over towards that B site. Some pious aggressive initially in towards the library, but Skrunk is holding that on the AWP, which surely is going to make it all but impossible to get out. Some pious tries to bait the shot on the jump, spots out the head, but Skrunk ducks out the pre-fire. And with that molly going down, already half the time gone on this bomb, they've got to get a shift on Movistar. HE goes in, but it won't connect. And at this point, they're trying to isolate that fight on site, but Skrunk just hiding in his corner, stays scoped up, no sound cues whatsoever. And if he just stays alive, he's won this round single-handedly, gets the first from up close and personal, and that should be it. Sampire's hanging around to see if maybe he can grab an exit here, get some damage onto one of these players, but he's going to go down to the bomb as a result. Kyubi survives on 1 HP, and that's a little bit of a steal from Sangal.
Yeah, in both directions, managing to take Sunpius out with the bomb explosion and just barely hanging on to his life in QB's case. That was close, but yeah, the second round for Sangal, they have an opportunity now to potentially build off the back of this, but it still will require probably the 2 more gun rounds. There'll be a gun round there for Movistar in the next if it's needed. It might not be perfect on a couple of the players, but they will be able to make something decent work at least. So this is a pretty important round for Sangal if they really want to start this comeback. Looks like their focus is going to be shifted over towards Banana. It's a bit more aggressive from Movistar as well this time, considering they only have the 2 players. Not going to be going with the 3-man stack, but do look like they want to fight it a bit more.
They want to put Mopos in a position to do damage, Molotov to try and isolate. But again, that lack of firepower, that lack of players forces Alex just to retreat away, grab himself the utility that was dropped deep, reset into a slightly more default setup. And again, with 1:10 left on the clock, Sangal find themselves with plenty of map control to work with. Full banana control taken. Still a player lurking in towards second mid in the form of QB as well. It just becomes about the call now. How does Sangal look to play this? They've got enough utility to double pump. They've got 3 smokes, plenty of molotovs, but they're going to send in a couple of players to sniff out this offensive. And Soulfly does very well before he burns alive, but Alex and Death are there to trade things away. Again, just efficient trading across the board from the CT side keeps them competitive. There's time left on the clock, sure, but most of the smokes are used now. Kyubi with the only remaining. Soulfly desperately trying to recover that bomb before they start to fade. Knows he has to get this plant off, but now starts to become aware. Coffin's open. Death's a decision to make as he hears that bomb going down. Will trust his teammates' nade instead. That does chip away at Sensei. Brings him down to 58 and starts to tempt them once more into this retake. 2-on-3. Flashbang from Sensei allows him to retreat. Resets deep onto the CT angle. Pius lies in wait, but it's a favorable peek. Doesn't matter. Pius finds his mark, and Deaths is there to deal with Kyubi at the top of Banana. So another very smooth retake, you have to say, for the Movistar Riders. 3-on-2. They get their 7th round on the board, and once again, it starts to just turn the pressure of the economy onto Sangal once more.
Yeah, the previous time they got kind of rebounded on, I suppose, with a round from Movistar. They were at least able to pull out their buy again. This time, while they are going to go for the force, it's not perfect. They don't have an op. They don't have rifles even on everyone, with a couple Mac 10s and then the weaker rifle in the hands of QB as well. So not ideal. It does seem like they realize that, and they say, screw it, balls to the wall, up mid through the smoke. Let's see what we can do if we can catch anyone off guard. It's a slightly more passive hold though, and the nades are chipping away at them in the back. It's going to be Pius who eventually kicks it off with a kill. But for now, it's only a 1-for-1. Damage-wise, though, definitely favouring Movistar. And as you can see, Sangal are just struggling to actually get past these openings of the bomb site. It's going to come down to a 1-on-2 in the end here, as Sensei is going to be required to pull off a miraculous clutch, although I don't think he realizes he's already been flanked. And, well, he nearly did. Actually spun around even at the crosshair on the tie, I think, of Mopos. Just couldn't get the shot off in time.
Nearly found the reaction, and it was a nice idea from Sangal as well. As much as those nades were raining in, they were so quick that they dodged the worst of it. All of the HEs went a little too deep. All of the mollies were a split second too late for the first couple of players who were allowed to charge through with no real damage done. So it was a solid enough idea. But again, you just see the fundamentals of the Movistar Riders come out in those sort of situations, right? They're being rushed down. The pressure is on, and they're setting up their crossfires. Pius plays close, allows Deaths to tuck into Kenny's corner and get more and more damage. A third player tucks himself into the pit. The crossfires are established. The damage is there to be converted. And then the rotations just come in to clean up house. So a guaranteed lead at the half at this point for the Movistar Riders. Don't forget, this is the map pick of Sangal. This is where they were looking to do damage, and it's a team who traditionally have looked their most solid on the T side as well. So already looking a little awkward, and with just Tech 9s and Deagles to be brought into this round, it's probably going to get even uglier before it gets any better.
I mean, while it is the map pick of Sangal, obviously we have to mention that normally Movistar are willing to pick this map themselves. Kind of left this since they thought Sangal might do it for them, and they were correct in this case. But yeah, that was unfortunate for Soulfly. It looked like he maybe had the initial player caught with the Tech 9, didn't expect someone tucked in on sandbags, and well, now it's up to his teammates to get something done as they push out on mid. It's only really Death who's actively taking the fight, which is a bit risky. They didn't want the op, I suppose, getting too close and personal against those pistols while they were all coming out in mass, but yeah, he will eventually trade it back. 1 death, not going to be a big deal considering they're at 9-2 and they have a pretty strong economy. I've already built the back up into a decent position on a couple of players considering they had lost a round and obviously had been taking quite a bit of damage even in the ones they were winning out.
It's just looking all too good. That opening 5-0 gave them such a solid platform. So easy to re-establish those funds and put yourselves in a solid position. Again, it's going to be the fast play up mid. The HEs, again, just chipping away, not doing as much as they would like. Soulfly taking the bulk of it as short control's taken, and with rifles, they are just charging in. But once more, the crossfires are there. Sumpires with 2, Davig from 1 on high, and it's Sensei left 1v4. Sumpires going for the snazzy flick, shall we say? Doesn't quite land it, and well, they know where Sensei is, but they keep feeding him the frags. Grabs his second of the round to bring us into a 3v1. Tucks himself into the boiler. There is a flank now coming in from Mopos as Movistar start to realize, okay, we've given a little too much away to this AWP. The Sensei's starting to think about it as well as he peers down Banana. Starts to try and get an idea of where this hit's coming from. Predicts the angle of Davig and tags him up through the wall as well. Down to half HP, the Orc will allow himself just to reposition into the mini pit. But again, that flank, slowly but surely, silently, Mopos creeps his way around. And it's only a matter of time before this one goes down. Sumpires will take his head, and it's double digits for the Movistar Riders.
(10-2). Honestly, not what I was expecting when we had this pick from Sangal. Obviously, 2 solo rounds just hasn't been enough for them to gain any sort of momentum, and individually no one's really gotten going. You can expect the op to struggle, which, I mean, Sensei's actually doing okay considering the rest of his team are not having a great time. But you just don't have the likes of Soulfly, for example, who you're required to step up coming alive. So it's right now just a massive struggle. Bit of info found by Davey. He's just going to peek up out through second apartments. Confirms at least 2 players were working their way up. They know they're not against the full buy as well, so they can drop their smokes. They can keep these longer ranged angles and hopefully just to trade it out effectively as they have been doing so far throughout this game. Even when they don't win out the round in the most clean, efficient manner, they always do a good job at ensuring that they have an advantage ready and waiting for if it comes down to the likes of a retake.
It's looked so solid, you have to say, for the Movistar Riders, the CT side. It really is where they start to show off their finest work, and it's been the case once again here. Sangal, for about the 4th time, find themselves in this half-buy situation, trying to make the techs and pistols work. Fast charge up Banana. 50 seconds left. They do bait out at least one of those smokes, and Davig, the only player with one remaining, is over on that A site. So they start to potentially open something up here. But again, with 40 seconds left on the clock, you can see that Movistar Riders just trust their crossfires. There's no panicked rotation. There's no drop of utility. They're trusting in Mopos and Alex to hold on to this B site, which does look like it will be the final target. Enough smokes and flashes procured by Sangal to make this one at least competitive, but they got to get a shift on now. 18 seconds as they line up this utility. No fast rotation. It's going to be down to Mopos and Alex, and they've got one flashbang to work with. Alex pockets it. Mopos spotted out. 10 seconds left. The flashbang in is inch perfect for him to swing wide. He's isolated, though, and he's still finding frags. Bomb trying to go down in amongst the chaos will at least get the plant, but it's a 4-on-2. Rifle recovered, at least for now, onto the hands of Kyubi. But look at the swarm of Movistar Riders. 2 players already in towards those coffins, just waiting for the frags. The trade comes in as Scrunk goes 1 for 1. And it's Kyubi on 22 HP to try and trade this out. The boost is perfect. Movi have 11. And again, simple things done right. Alex with the perfect pop flash. Mopos gets in, gets damage across the board, and you could see the chaos that it's forcing Sangal into when they've got to try and get that bomb down.
Even just the way the afterplant was played, then you have a low health player, a high health player, the low health players on the rifle. Probably could have swapped there. I didn't think it was a good idea for Scrunk to go kind of crazy with a push on his own, considering he was the healthy one of the 2 as well. Or if they were to go for it, maybe try and get that construction control together. Obviously, though, if it works out and he gets 2 kills up close with a Tech 9, or even if there was only 1 player there and he got that 1 kill, suddenly they have construction control as well, and it becomes a way more holdable afterplant. So maybe I'd be saying things differently if he landed the second shot, but it just seemed a bit too risky. Either way, an important round here. Back on the full buys for both sides. Sensei has his up as well. That is a bit of a bug, obviously, that it says Isaac. Guys, don't worry about that. Hopefully we'll have it fixed by next map. But this is a change up from Sangal. We haven't really seen them being able to move up Banana as freely as they have done so here without really giving too much away. Unfortunately, there's still 3 players in position. And, well, a perfect flash on Sun Pius is not good enough. He just times the shot. He has the backup of Alex, who was waiting playing anti-flash, and no one else was ready for the push, so they've been completely denied. The bomb waiting in a tree on its own while the other 2 players probe around A and might be able to wrap into the spawn, but it's being watched by Mopos.
Little bit of fortune, but that's exactly what the setup was designed to achieve. Some Pius gets flashed. There's the anti-flash player, happy to take the kill. Like you said, half a chance maybe on this wraparound. Mopos thinking about peeking in. That flash fully blinds up Sensei, but nobody's there to take advantage just yet. Havik peeks up, gets spotted. Sensei gets the initial kill, but then again, immediately Mopos there with the trade. Yubi trying to get something going up short. The Molotov onto default plant gives his position away entirely. They know there's a second player somewhere, but Death's just eluding Death. Chips away at 1, grabs the second on low HP. And the dominance of Movistar Riders on Inferno continues 12-2, really bringing that Pro League form with them down to the Challenger League. And Sangal at the moment just do not have the answer.
I mean, in fairness, this is what we'd expect of Movistar if they were to continue on with their form. We've seen some cases, though, where a team goes up the Pro League, might even have some success, and then comes back down and doesn't really manage to do the same. But I think it was different with Movistar because they won the majority of their games. It wasn't like Sinners, for example, who kind of, I think, had their confidence knocked after their season in Pro League. Oh, I thought he was going to put that nade in. That could have done a ton of damage. It's unfortunate, though. The kill that actually does come in to open it up is in favor of Sangal. It was a molly that burned Mopos alive. Didn't get to catch that on our screen, so I wasn't expecting it, but that is a great opening. That is pretty much the only unchallenged entry kill we've seen from Sangal. Now they just need to capitalize on it, and they're moving very quickly over towards A.
This is looking much better. The crossfires this time not quite there, but they back away.
Okay, this is interesting.
They second guess themselves right as they look to pop into short on a timing. They back out of it. Look for a little more of a wrap play, and that has allowed for the rotation to start making its way around. Some Pius is isolated for now. Wants to get aggressive with it out towards long. He's going to set himself on the angle. The run boost will distract him for a moment. Manages to grab 1, even if it is at the cost of his teammate, though. With 50 seconds left, still just about the man advantage for Sangal. They're going to double back over towards short here. They know Davi likes to play this angle. He spots them walking into the site, but can't get anything done. Spam down through the smoke. And it's going to be a 2-on-4 that we're going to have to see the Movistar Riders have a go at. Last round of the half here. An AWP and an AK-47. 2 flashes to get themselves into this. A lovely little nade onto Alex. Chips him down even further. And this should be a shut round at this point for Sangal. You have to say, perfectly placed to deal with this. Some Pius slowly clearing his corners. Soulfly will take advantage, and Alex, well, there's nothing you can do, mate. You've got to give it a go. You've got to roll the dice on this 1v4, but your head's ripped clean off. 12-3 at the half, and we'll be back to see if Sangal can pull off this comeback after the break. A nice quick break as we're back into the action already, and the pistol already going off as Mopos and Alex getting a frag apiece. It's all action here at the start of the second half. The HE's providing 1, the bullets providing the other, and Scrunk, oh, he's blinded David G up perfectly, but he can't connect the shots. The frag comes in regardless, and that really does just summarize Sangal's first half here. Some Pius in with another, and Kyubi, well, he's fighting a lost cause. 1v5, dinked up, dealt with, flawless from the Movistar Riders to get 13. They want map 1 done now.
Yeah, that was the first half summed up in 1 pistol round, basically. 13-3. It's, yeah, as you said, basically map 1 being done already at this point, unless a miracle happens, and it doesn't look like Sangal are going to force it, they do want to at least get one full gun round in play. Give themselves an opportunity to build back into this a bit. It's one of those situations, as I always say, even if you don't manage to make a full comeback happen, try and win a few gun rounds and get a bit of confidence back before moving on to that second map. Never ideal to go forward after kind of getting slapped about, to be honest. Won't sugarcoat my words too much. I do like this little boost, though. This could maybe catch someone off guard if they were to push out too long. It's a possibility, but with a few SMGs in play, I would imagine if they do go A, that short is probably where they'll favor towards, and that smoke is pretty much confirmed it. It does seem like A is going to be the target, the bomb being recovered. They're all on the way back over, and well, they are going to where the stack is at. As long as they don't just walk out long, then there shouldn't be too much trouble.
Thinking about it, Davy G, Mac 10 round the corner, flashbang in, he spots it, dinks up one, and now the charge starts to come in. Alex will be traded evenly, and it's a man advantage, if not a firepower advantage for that CT side. Scrunk catches the bomb in transition, but some pious and deaths are there to steady the ship. Been praising Movistar Riders all half for having a very regimented, very solid structure, and that time they very nearly got caught off guard by something a little magical from Sangal. The rifle's just about able to recover, though, and this, like you said, Dean, is the critical round. The rifles are out, 4 of them as Soulfly drops down to the MP9, and it has to work now. This CT side has to start kicking.
Yeah, I mean, considering they've been great with their calls all game, I think we can forgive them once for walking into the stack a little bit. They handled it in the end, even if it was a bit too close for my liking. Oh, nade over. Doesn't do as much damage as I was thinking it might have when I seen it being tossed. Either way, full buy from both sides. This is Sangal's only hope, really, if they want to get themselves in with a few rounds at least being won and maybe slowly but surely work their way back into the map. Movistar, though, are being given a lot of free reign. They haven't taken most of it, but I mean, there's no one peeking in on mid. They've now put down their smoke and will push in for that control. They have Mopos who's left alone on Banana, and he could, if he wanted, just walk up and take that full control. Obviously, he's not aware of that, so he's not going to take the risk. But he's at least in a position where it leaves the option open if they do want to work back in that direction as a team.
Nice pot flash in for Corey. Doesn't spot anything out. Will be forced to retreat by the counter. Movi happy to slow this one down as they are starting to work their way out towards that long control. Corey in towards the arches, going to be smoked off, goes wide, does find the opening pick as well. Alex goes down early. Movistar getting caught, treading on their own feet just a little bit there, and now with 35 seconds, this starts to get awkward. The apartments player is there in deaths. He's got one flashbang to get himself out. The rest of the team are going to have to group on short, and the crossfire is there. Sensei inside of the site, Kyubi deep in towards the mini pit. It's going to be Sensei to take first contact, gets the freebie, doubles it, and that baits in his teammate beautifully. Pious with 1, but it's a consolation kill. He's dinked down to 9 HP, and with 15 seconds left, he's really got to think about dying. Corey will do all the thinking for him as he rips his head clean from his shoulders to grab Sangal their first CT round. And well, they need a lot more where that came from, dude.
Yeah, they need a lot more if they want to win anyway, but at the very least, 2-3 more gun rounds, get a bit of confidence going before they maybe inevitably lose a round or so. But who knows? There's nothing to say that they can't lock this down on the CT side now as well and really find their footing. It's an interesting investment here. There's a few weapons, but there's really no utility to back it up, so it's all about the quick play. And fortunately, while running through those nades on Banana, they didn't really have much that they could do about it. 2 kills already to bomb. Well, it is dropped. I was going to say maybe to be recovered there by Davy G. It was a bit of a struggle. Taken low and then charges through the smoke to give it over again. 1 kill from Pious on that player, I think, rotating off of A, but it's just 1 kill in what is pretty much an impossible round to win at this point.
Isolated moment. Does leave Sensei completely alone, though. On towards this A site, an isolated player, but of course with the bomb top Banana, that's not of too much concern to the CT side. I'm sure Deaths would love to grab himself a second rifle, make this save a little bit more lethal. Pious getting a ton of damage, but not capitalized upon. Death's not quite able to find the connecting shot on the Deagle either, so he'll try and be a little cheeky, but Sensei's wise to all the tricks in the book. A 5th round on the board, the force buy not working out whatsoever for the Movistar Riders, and like you said, even if this isn't going to be a one map for Sangal, even if they're not going to be able to make the comeback, get all the way to the finish, it's just about building that little bit of confidence. Get a few rifle rounds on the board, get a few good phases of play, something to make you believe that you can steal Vertigo from the Movistar Riders, because that first half, That would have been a shock to the system from a Sangal side who looked competitive at the RMR, who took 10 rounds off G2 on this very map. To get beaten up in that manner on their T side would not have been something they were expecting.
I mean, in fairness, what can you do when Sunpius is 27-6? Dets is 18-8. Like, I mean, they just have a couple of players who are popping off. It wasn't the main reason they were winning. The reason those players were succeeding so much was because of the coordination of the team and all. But still, Sunpius was going absolutely off on them all halves. So maybe if they slow them down, if they make the economy a bit of a struggle here for a while as well, with them bouncing back and forth between the buys and such, slowly but surely we would see them grinding those rounds out. And who knows, maybe it's still a winnable situation, a winnable map rather, but it's a long road ahead of them. So for now, as you said, the focus is to get back on their feet at the very least. It's a slower round. No pistols at all being upgraded. Sorry, no, there's one deagle on Mopos, so I lied. Never trust me again.
Hopes to get a little bit of something done, but in all reality, just about dying in this round. Use the extra time they bought themselves at the start to talk strats for the rifles. 2 players down already. Sangal just farming away the eco. Deagle will at least be passed down, and to be fair, if there's anyone you'd want the Deagle to be in the hands of, it is Sunpius, as he said, 27-6, playing an absolute blinder at the minute. But with 25 seconds left, smoked off from the fight, spammed down again by Scrunk. It's not looking pretty. AVG is going to get run boosted through the smoke, try and bait that Deagle in just a little bit more, but nothing doing. Should be a flawless round. Deaths just needs to make sure he dies within the next 12 seconds, tries to wait for the reload, but Soulfly's having none of it. 6 on the board. Sangal deal with that eco nice and smoothly, and that's a nice little confidence builder as well, Dean. Not losing anything to that Deagle.
Yeah, which isn't always so easy to do. Not as insane as it was, obviously, before the nerf, but still, it does its damage in the hands of a skilled player. It's not quite perfect from Movistar. They do have a Galil, but the nades are plentiful. They actually have 2 Galils, but yeah, overall, still a buy that they can definitely make work right here. Interesting, I think they're boosting up on quad. Indeed, that seems to be the case. They put Corey up, so a little bit of a change into what is obviously a very, very important swing round if they want to keep this comeback going. So I like that they're throwing in something that you'll only really see every now and again. Obviously, it's a position that can catch them off guard, but if it's known, it can be very difficult to actually do anything from. It looks like he will eventually here be challenged here, rather. And I like that they gambled a 4th player over as well.
Yeah, it's a big setup.
This seems like they have a full read.
You got 1 under porch, 1 top porch, 1 pillar, 1 long. They are waiting for this exact hit to come in, and here it comes. Molotov goes in, pop flash to force them into the fight, but it's Corey and Soulfly combining for 2 early kills, and then there's 3 out of absolutely nowhere. Sunpius, Moppers, Davig, and Sunpius again. They walked right into the 4-man stack-up bracket. They took 2 kills and they went fine. Wolfface shoots for the remaining one. Frank is left in a 1v3 somehow, some way. Moppers rips his head off, and that was disgusting from the Movistar Riders. You have to say, our observer couldn't catch it. It was too quick for anyone to catch. It was ridiculous.
Kind of rude, to be honest. It's especially a second kill from Sunbias through the smoke. Like, you think, okay, well, at least one player should be hanging on here. Maybe he gets to trade as they come through the smoke, but no, Sunbias doesn't even give him a chance. He just shoots through, instant domed. Yeah, that was rough. 15-6. Movistar seemed like they had everything working against them in that round. It doesn't matter, though. They have Sunbias working with them, and that's more than enough. So buy at least again in play, as you'd expect from Sangal. They had built up enough money to confirm that, and they actually go for a double op setup. This is not a common play here on Inferno. It does maybe spell some desperation, which is understandable being at 15-6 on their own map choice as well.
You got to try something different, haven't you? Fighting for the banana control is Soulfly. Flashed in again. Moppos toying with the idea of rounding that corner. HE instead to try and do the work for him. It's a big call for Sangal, but you can understand it going towards that double AWP setup. Can't go for the short play again. That got demolished last time round. Sunpius looking for his 30 bomb in and around this long smoke. Corey tucked into Cubby. Sunpius was expecting it, and he still is, but it's an awkward fight for him. Corey will get the better of him this time around. And with the HEs chiming in with more damage, it opens up an opportunity. Alex, though, still able to find the kill. And Davig takes out Sensei inside of the site. That's one of the AWPs down, and now Kyubi is the only man left. the last bastion of hope over towards this A site. He's spammed down by Alex, and as much as Scrunk gets 1 kill over towards the B site, it's still a free plant on A for the Movistar Riders. And it's a 2-on-3, 1 smoke, 1 HE, and Orphan and M4 in this retake. Sangal needs somebody to pull out a little bit of magic here. Scrunk and Soulfly to try and provide it. It's a long old walk up mid for Scrunk as well. Doesn't want to give away any of these sound cues as Soulfly starting to clear his early angles. Death's tucked into the corner. Will be his first victim, but he goes down low. 5 HP left, so it puts the pressure back onto Scrunk now to get something going. And as he has his head ripped off, the molly will trade him in his death, but that's not even going to be enough. Alex swings wide. Job done